Mid-America Industrial Park's Living Grand on Grand Lake is made possible by
It was important for me to stay in Pryor because I have a lot of family around here and that aspect is very important in my life. I first started going to RSU my freshman year of college in Pryor, and from that experience I was able to meet some people from Orchids through a scholarship that I was receiving, and they offered me an internship, and that internship turned into this position. Working for Orchids has been a phenomenal experience. They have brought me into the real world with open arms. It's great that Mid-America companies like Orchid contribute to scholarships like mine that helped me get my education. There's no limit to what you can do out here.
also by
Electricity makes our everyday lives more convenient. We all know it costs more to fill your gas tank, buy prescriptions, and even go to the doctor. In the last decade, gasoline costs rose 11% every year. A dozen eggs increased in cost nearly 8%. Your electricity? It only rose on average less than 5% each year. Your local electric cooperative works hard to keep your electric service safe, affordable, and reliable. Discover the power of your co-op membership.
and by
After finishing high school, I immediately got married and started my family. Without a college degree, I found that pretty quickly my options were limited. When I started looking around for a college program for working adults, I quickly found that Rogers State was a great fit. They worked with me to get financial aid, offered classes that fit my busy schedule, and gave me personalized attention that I couldn't get at a larger school. Rogers State definitely started me on my professional career.
as well as by
Grand River Dam Authority is Oklahoma's state-owned electric utility, fully funded by revenues from electric and water sales instead of taxes. GRDA electricity touches 75 of 77 counties in the state and serves as an economic development engine for all of Oklahoma. At no cost to taxpayers, GRDA also manages 70,000 surface acres of lakes, including Grand Lake, Lake Hudson, and the W.R. Hallway Reservoir. Annually, the efforts of Team GRDA facilitate over $450 million in economic activity in Oklahoma.
and by viewers and members like you.
Coming up on this week's Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake, she might be retired, but this lady still casts the line more than 300 days a year. Plus, it's one of the lake's favorite eateries where you can relax, enjoy some delicious food, and a beautiful sunset. And we'll meet a Grand Lake entrepreneur who is raising her family on the lake she loves. These stories and more coming up on this week's Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake.
And this is Living Grand.
And this is Living Grand.
This is Living Grand.
And this is Living Grand.
And this is Living Grand on Grand Lake.
Hello, and welcome to Season 3 of Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake. I'm Christy Wallace. Season 3 will be jam-packed with all the info you need to live it up on Grand. So let's get started. Up first, for some, fishing is a relaxing way to occasionally unwind during a weekend on the lake. For fanatics like retired fishing pro Penny Steffens, it's a way of life.
Let's see, there's 365 days in a year. If the lake don't ice over, I probably fish most of them. I bet I don't miss 15 days a year fishing. I've loved fishing since I was a little bitty girl, and I can't get it out of my blood. It's just, if I can't go fishing, you might as well throw me in the river. It's just that bad. I'm just that bad. I love to fish. Well, when I was a kid, my grandfather took me all the time. But back then, we didn't even have hooks. We had safety pins. You bend the end of a safety pin and put it on a little string that you take out of a feed sack and put it on a stick and go fishing. That's all we had for years, till I was probably 14 years old before I had hooks. And were fishing cypress trees, me and Emily Schaefer. We had drawed out together on a tournament. And we got up in these cypress and we was catching big bass. And I jigging, I got a bite. I said, hold it, Emily. She was on the front. I was standing up here and heard this fishing. And I missed him. I said, of course, she's holding a boat, she's fishing. I went ahead and I missed him again. I darn, that must be a spawning bass. Well, I hooked him the next time. There wasn't no spawning bass. It was a alligator about 4 foot long. That alligator came up the side of that boat and goes roar right in my face. He had teeth that long. Scared me so bad and scared her so bad. We was both in the middle of the boat trying to figure out what we was going to do. I never was so scared. If a fish went and popped the top of the water, me and her both would run to the middle of the boat and see what was going on. Well, I fished with Penny Berriman, and I wished I could remember her name. I never could. The guy down, Jimmy Houston's wife, and Emily Schaefer. I fished with a lot of the pros. Well, we done a catfish show with Mel Tillis and Jerry Reed. I fished a circuit, WBFA, and I fished Bass and Gals for, well, as long as they was ever in business. And I signed up for that FLW women's tournament, and 2 weeks before that I broke my back twice and couldn't fish. So I spent 2 years running around in a wheelchair and couldn't even help myself, really. It was like you'd sentence me to a prison sentence or death, because I kept sitting in a chair. I gotta do something. For quite a while they kept me so doped up on a lot of medication. And one morning I got up and I throwed all that in the trash can, and I said, I'm gonna walk. And it took me about a year, but I got back to fishing. I can remember the first day I went back out. That was a wonderful feeling, to get back on the boat. I love my lake. I love this lake. It makes me mad when people throw garbage in it and mistreat it. I love it here. I love the lake. I go all over this thing. You can always catch some pretty good bass on Grand Lake. And I go crappie fishing once in a while. It's the most peaceful place that I've ever been. I can come here by myself and just watch the bird. It's calming. All your worries go away, you have none. I love it out here.
Anyone who can fish more than 300 days a year is a keeper in my book. Whether you're the type that likes to toss a line in the water or just see what bites, or you're a sport fisherman on a mission to catch the big one, Grand Lake is a fisherman's paradise. If you want to watch this show again or catch up on some of our past episodes, just visit rsu.tv. Click on the program button and then select Living Grand on Grand Lake. Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll take you to Grand Lake's fastest growing hotspot.
It was important for me to stay in Pryor because I have a lot of family around here, and that aspect is very important in my life. I first started going to RSU my freshman year of college in Pryor, and from that experience I was able to meet some people from Orchids through a scholarship that I was receiving, and they offered me an internship, and that internship turned into this position. Working for Orchids has been a phenomenal experience. They have brought me into the real world with open arms. It's great that Mid-America companies like Orchid contribute to scholarships like mine that helped me get my education. There's no limit to what you can do out here.
Hello, our safety tip for today is life jackets. The importance of wearing them and what they can do for us. To start out, I want to talk with proper fit. When we go to look for a life jacket, we want to find one that properly fits us, not only comfortable, but it's got to look good. We want to make sure that everything works properly. To do that, once we find one that fits us properly, we want to make sure that there's a label on the inside of the life jacket that says whether it's Coast Guard approved. If that life jacket is Coast Guard approved, that means it's safe for us to wear. There's many reasons why we should wear one. If we have trouble swimming or any difficulties that we want to aid ourselves that way. But number one in a boat is always the possibility of falling out. We want to make sure that we have a properly fit life jacket to make sure it stays on us if we fall out. There's many different kinds for different situations. We have what we call a basic horseshoe life jacket. We've all seen, been around for years. It's actually one of the safest life jackets there are. Once you find one that properly fits you, please wear it. It can save your life.
And now, time for the Grand Lake Chronicle events page. The competition heats up for the Hook and Cook-Off at the South Grand Lake Regional Airport. Join us on June 11th for airplane and helicopter rides, live music from Lickety Split, and new this year, catfish races. Don't miss out on the fun. Tasting kits are only $10 for adults, $5 for the kids. If you need more information, visit grandlakechamber.org. Veneta hosts the second annual Route 66 Festival on June 18th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The day's festivities include a car show, big truck and tractor show, an inflatable park for the kids, and live music. There's something for every member of the family. For more information or to register your car for the show, visit VenetaRoute66Festival.com. On July 3rd, make your way by land or by Grand to watch the Duck Creek Fireworks Show. Enjoy never-before-seen shell displays and a special patriotic musical score. Plus, come early to witness a flyover by the Warbirds and the U.S. Air Force F-16s. For more information, visit DuckCreekFireworksOK.com. Well, that's it for now from the Grand Lake Chronicle events page.
Welcome back to Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake. I'm Christy Wallace. Our next story takes us to the north end of the lake. As you open the door to this little piece of paradise, you're greeted by a friendly face with a rather large beak, known as Jake, a beautiful macaw parrot. Best known for their crab legs, pork chops, and steaks, the Parrot Steakhouse has a relaxed ambiance, complete with a tropical theme, lake views from every table, and a nightly sunset toast.
We'd been kind of looking for a parrot, and we went to a bird show in Tulsa, and we'd looked at several birds, and there was a lot of birds in there, and we walked all the way through, all the way to the end of the building, and he was back in the back far corner, and he was sitting on a perch, and I walked up there and started talking to him. He was looking at me, and I held my arm out, and he just hopped off that perch and ran up my arm and kind of snuggled up against my neck. I looked at her, and she goes, "I know, that's the one."
That's the one.
He's been a real attraction. People love to come and visit with him and talk to him, and I mean, there's a lot of people get to know Jake, and he's learned a lot of words. His favorite word is Aflac. A lot of people thought that would be fun, and I mean, he thinks he's the Aflac duck at times. So.
He loves to cook. He absolutely loves it, and he's very good at it. And we would be out on dates, and he would be like, "Oh, this has too much dill in it, or this has too much, you know." And he just loves it, and he's really good at it. So when this came available, I kind of talked him into it because I knew that's what he wanted to do.
Her and her parents owned a convenience store here in town, and it was not far from my home, and I used to go there and get gas and you know, groceries and that type of thing. And I'd come in of an evening from work, and I'd stop there and get a sandwich or something, me and my son, and which I was a single father at the time, and we just kind of got to talking and visiting, and got to be getting close to Valentine's, and she started putting those little Valentine sweethearts in my sack and stuff. And we got home one evening, and my son looked at me and he said, "Dad, I think she likes you."
I used to put little dum-dum suckers in his son's sack, and then as he got closer to the Valentine's, of course, that candy's on the shelf, you know, so I just thought I'll stick a couple in here. This guy's kind of cute, you know, he's nice and come in almost every day, so, you know, it worked.
So one thing led to another, and we got to dating and got married, and it's been 20-some years now, so. There was a lady here, I don't know, it's been 3 or 4 years ago, come in and she said, guys, I just love y'all being here. It's just kind of like our own little Cheers. So, you know, that's nice to hear.
They're comfortable, and that's what we wanted, was comfortable. They can feel like they left town and didn't. You know, they're on the lake, that's the setting's tropical, it's different, so they just feel like they went somewhere and really didn't have to drive far.
Well, the chicken fried steak was something that I cooked for a long time, and you know, this area, people really like their chicken fried steaks, and you know, that was kind of one of our signature dishes to begin with. And then of course our steaks, we hand cut those in-house daily, and try to cook them to perfection. And people really enjoy coming here and having a steak and looking out over the lake. You get to know people, you see them a little more often, you know, especially the local people that you've known for years, and you get to build a little closer relationship with them, and you get to see them on a pretty regular basis and make a lot of good friendships. We donate to several different societies around town. There's a boys' home here in town, and you know, come Christmas time, they don't have a lot of people to help them and you know, to feel loved and wanted, and so we always get and bring in a few gifts and invite the boys from the boys' home down, and we cook them a nice dinner and feed them well and provide them with a few gifts, and those guys really enjoy it. Today we're having the Barcaritaville. It's for the Second Chance Pet Rescue Group here in Grove, which is to us is a great cause. We enjoy pets, and we believe in that they're needing help. You know, when somebody walks up to you and says, I really enjoyed that meal and I enjoy the atmosphere here, I think that's what drives both of us.
The Parrot is easily accessible by boat, and they offer complimentary boat slips. They also have ample room in the parking lot for those who come by car, and they offer a speedy to-go service. They also cater all over Grand Lake. Stay with us and meet a Grand Lake entrepreneur who's raising her family on Grand.
This is Living Grand on Grand Lake. This is Living Grand on Grand Lake. This is Living Grand on Grand Lake.
You two look happy? Is there anything else I can get for you? Okay.
Cherokee Casino and Hotel, West Siloam Springs. The feeling stays with you.
The Grand River Dam Authority is Oklahoma's state-owned electric utility, fully funded by revenues from electric and water sales instead of taxes. GRDA Electricity touches 75 of 77 counties in the state and serves as an economic development engine for all of Oklahoma. At no cost to taxpayers, GRDA also manages 70,000 surface acres of lakes, including Grand Lake, Lake Hudson, and the W.R. Hallway Reservoir. Annually, the efforts of Team GRDA facilitate over $450 million in economic activity in Oklahoma.
Welcome back to Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake. Grand Lake is full of innovative entrepreneurs like Michelle Prine. Growing up on Grand Lake, she knew there was no place like home to raise a family. She now spends her time running her own successful business and raising her family on the lake she loves.
We have a lot of people that come to play and then they end up staying. They love the area. The people are the greatest part. Business around here, so I've grown up around the lake. the family wants you to work, so when everybody else is playing on the lake, you had to help pump gas and clean the boats and everything like that. But there was a lot of times that we'd get to go out and enjoy it as well. Initially, they had a marina around the lake, so I was involved with helping them promote that. It was just kind of a passion that I had to tell people about things that were going on or boats that were for sale, different things that were throughout, services that they offered. I was doing some research because I worked for another local media company at the time, and I was just doing research online looking for clients. You can only go so many door-to-door around here doing cold calls, so I was doing some research online and I came upon 360 Tulsa and realized that it was a franchise, so I contacted, they're based out of Wichita, I contacted them about additional information because we really didn't have anything at Grand Lake that was an online presence that told all about the wonderful things that we have to offer here, the services, the businesses, the people, or anything like that. And I felt like it was something that we really needed. With 360 Grand Lake, we get involved in almost every industry around here. We have a lot of different marinas, boat sales, RVs, places to stay, hotels, resorts, restaurants, bars, you name it, and we have a little bit of information about every service that there is around the lake. We have a lot of people that come down for Grand Lake events and they're looking for lodging, they're looking for food, fuel, all of the above, so it really helps the community out when we drive tourism-related dollars into the area. It is very, very busy during the summer. Park at Wolf Creek has created a huge mass of fishing tournaments that, the Bassmasters and then Thunder on Wolf Creek, they're going to be able to have a lot of different events. They had the Pelican Fest there last year. A lot of different venues will be able to be held from there, and they can come by land or Grand then. So we have a lot of different resorts that are fabulous to stay at, so they can pick any of the resorts we have around the area. We have a lot of vacation homes. We have parasailing. Sail Grand has boat rentals and parasailing it depends on how adventurous they want to be. We have nature trails around Harbor Village, Lindenwood Gardens, but the lake is open all year round. And that's a message that we preach to everybody that comes to the lake. There are things to do at Grand Lake all year. It doesn't matter what the season is. The Eco Center is huge for Langley. That's GRDA's Eco Center. It's a beautiful building, and you can go in there, and that's where you go to take the dam tours. And if you haven't taken a tour of the Pensacola Dam, it's very unique. We were involved with an event that we inherited from a client about 3.5 years ago called Aquapalooza, and it's always the third Saturday in July. And we have people coming from Alaska to come to Grand Lake to come down for the event. And we see a lot of people that come to retire at Grand Lake that end up starting their own business. So, from their experience, they bring to Grand Lake, whether they're from Kansas or they're from whatever state they are, the different things that they've experienced through their larger businesses, and they open up something here. So it's a pretty unique, diverse amount of people that we have up here all throughout the lake. I travel quite a bit with our Native American business all over the country to different conferences, and I'm amazed at the people that are familiar with where Grand Lake is. They've been there, they have relatives that have been here, somebody that they know has a boat or a house here, and it's a unique community that, so many small towns that are grouped together, but everybody tries to work together for the benefit of the lake.
Well, that's it for this edition of Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake. Be sure to watch us each week on RSU TV or catch us online at rsu.tv. I'm Christy Wallace. Thanks for watching.
Mid-America's Industrial Parks Living Grand on Grand Lake is made possible by
It was important for me to stay in Pryor because I have a lot of family around here, and that aspect is very important in my life. I first started going to RSU my freshman year of college in Pryor, and from that experience I was able to meet some people from Orchids through a scholarship that I was receiving, and they offered me an internship, and that internship turned into this position. Working for Orchids has been a phenomenal experience. They have brought me into the real world with open arms. It's great that Mid-America companies like Orchid contribute to scholarships like mine that helped me get my education. There's no limit to what you can do out here.
also by
After finishing high school, I immediately got married and started my family. Without a college degree, I found that pretty quickly my options were limited. When I started looking around for a college program for working adults, I quickly found that Rogers State was a great fit. They worked with me to get financial aid, offered classes that fit my busy schedule, and gave me personalized attention that I couldn't get at a larger school. Rogers State definitely started me on my professional career.
Plus by
Grand River Dam Authority is Oklahoma's state-owned electric utility, fully funded by revenues from electric and water sales instead of taxes. GRDA Electricity touches 75 of 77 counties in the state and serves as an economic development engine for all of Oklahoma. At no cost to taxpayers, GRDA also manages 70,000 surface acres of lakes, including Grand Lake, Lake Hudson, and the W.R. Hallway Reservoir. Annually, the efforts of Team GRDA facilitate over $450 million in economic activity in Oklahoma.
and by viewers and members like you.